Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today we're going to explore Hertz Global Holdings, ticker HTZ. We've got some documents you shared outlining their situation as of mid-April 2025, performance, market position, outlook. Our goal is really to pull out the key things you need to know without getting lost in the weeds. We'll look at what Hertz has been up to, what it means, and some of the factors behind it all.
And it's an interesting one. I mean, you have this company, huge name recognition, global footprint, and some recent moves suggest they're trying to be proactive, engage the market. But the data also points to some, let's say, significant financial complexities we really need to look at closely.
Okay, let's start breaking that down with some recent news. Looks like Hertz is gearing up for their Q1 2025 earnings call. That's set for May 12th. We don't have the Q1 numbers yet, obviously, but other things have been happening, right? Like their dollar car rental brand. They launched a new ad campaign.
That's right, yeah. With comedian Mikey Day. They're calling him the Common Sensei. The whole angle seems to be using humor, trying to reconnect with travelers, maybe stand out a bit.
And it seems like that, maybe combined with other things, had some impact. I saw something about the stock price in mid-April.
It did. On April 16th, the stock actually saw a pretty big intraday jump, something like almost 17%. It came after they announced some strategic growth plans alongside that new dollar ad campaign.
Wow, 17% is quite a spike. Did it hold?
Not entirely. It settled back, closed up around 4% for the day, which, is still positive. It suggests investors initially liked what they heard.
And are people talking about this on social media, investor forums?
Oh, definitely. There's chatter on places like X, Reddit, some excitement about the new advertising, the idea it might grab those post-pandemic travelers. But, and this is important, there's also this undercurrent of caution. People are aware of the company's debt situation. That hasn't gone away.
So it raises the question, this marketing buzz, these initiatives, how sustainable is that positive feeling given the financials?
That's the core tension, isn't it? Marketing can create interest, maybe boost demand short term, but the fundamental financial health, well, that paints a different picture we need to get into.
Okay, let's get into those financials then. Revenue. The documents mentioned $9 billion recently. That's likely the full year 2024 figure.
Seems likely, yes. And the full year 2024 revenue was actually $9.05 billion, which was, interestingly, a dip about 3.4%, down from 2023's $9.37 billion.
So revenue actually went down slightly year over year. And what about actually making money on that revenue? Profitability.
That seems to be a major weak spot. Gross margins are mentioned as being below 3%. And the EBIT margin, it's deeply negative, minus 35.8%. That just screams cost pressures, maybe operational issues.
A negative 35% EBIT margin? That's rough. What about the net result, the bottom line?
Also showing losses. They reported a net loss of $479 million in Q4 2024 and a loss for the full year 2024 as well.
Any improvement there?
Well, the adjusted loss per share for Q4 2024 was negative $1.18. That was slightly better than the negative or 36 cents in Q4 2023. So yes, a small improvement directionally. But it's still a loss, and analysts seem to think the losses will continue into this fiscal year, 2025.
Okay, and we mentioned the debt earlier. How bad is it?
It's substantial. The long-term debt figure is around $18.4 billion, and the debt-to-equity ratio is over 120%. That's very high leverage.
Over 120%. And with interest rates where they've been, that must be a huge concern for analysts thinking about their financial flexibility.
Absolutely. High leverage is always a risk, but especially when rates are up or if credit tightens, it makes refinancing harder, more expensive. And just servicing that debt costs a lot. The interest expense for the full year 2024 was nearly $1 billion, $959 million.
Wow, close to $1 billion just in interest payments. Do they generate enough cash to handle that?
Well, the operating cash flow is reported at $414 million. That's positive, which is good. But is it enough? Considering that huge debt service need, it looks tight. Plus, you have to factor in vehicle depreciation. That was massive in 2024 at $3.6 billion. When you account for net losses and depreciation, generating strong free cash flow looks like a real struggle.
So positive operating cash flow, but maybe not enough breathing room given the debt and other costs, paints a picture of, well, a company under financial strain. How does this fit into the broader car rental industry? Is everyone struggling, or is Hertz facing unique pressures?
The sector itself is definitely competitive. Peers are really pushing on technology. Sustainability, too. That's becoming a bigger focus. Think about electric vehicles. Companies like Tesla are driving innovation, and that puts pressure on rental companies like Hertz to decide on their fleet strategy, how quickly they electrify.
Right, the whole EV transition impacts them directly.
For sure. And then there are broader economic things, inflation, impacting labor costs, materials for car manufacturing. That eventually hits rental companies through what they pay for their fleets.
And how is Hertz doing compared to the competition, growth-wise? You mentioned their revenue dipped slightly.
Yeah, that 3.4% year-over-year decline for 2024,
Hmm?
it stands out because the overall industry growth projections are actually positive, maybe around 8% or so. Competitors like Enterprise tend to show steady growth. Avis Budget Group has seen moderate growth, so Hertz seems to be lagging behind the pack recently.
And financially lagging too, presumably?
Based on these numbers, yes. The profitability metrics look weaker, and that debt load is definitely heavier compared to many peers. It really puts the pressure on management.
Okay, so looking ahead, what are the main risks Hertz is facing, and are there any counterbalancing opportunities? The risks seem pretty clear from the financials.
Top of the list has to be that high leverage. Refinancing risk is significant, especially if rates stay high or go higher, or if credit conditions get tough. And the ongoing low profitability, if they can't turn that around, it just keeps straining cash flow.
Anything else?
Well, there was that recent data breach involving customer information. That's a big reputational risk. Erodes trust and could have financial fallout too. Plus, there's some ongoing legal disputes related to their bankruptcy-era payouts. That adds another layer of uncertainty.
Quite a list of challenges. What about the potential bright spots, the opportunities?
The new marketing campaigns, like the dollar one, could genuinely work. If they connect with customers, boost rental demand, that's a clear positive. Strategic partnerships were also mentioned. That could hint at moves towards, say, greener fleets, maybe finding operational efficiencies. Aligning with ESG trends is increasingly important.
Any other potential tailwinds?
Possibly a small one, used car prices. If tariffs or other factors keep used car prices elevated, Hertz might get marginally better returns when they sell off parts of their fleet. It wouldn't solve the big problems, but it could help a little on the edges.
Okay, so a mix of serious risks and some potential opportunities. How is the market digesting all this? What's the overall sentiment? Sounds like a bit of a mixed bag.
It really does seem mixed, leaning towards cautious optimism maybe, but with major caveats. You had that definite short-term enthusiasm, that stock pop on April 16th after the marketing and growth news. Investors reacted to the headlines.
But analysts are looking deeper.
Seems so. Analyst ratings are generally cautious. Bank of America, for instance, lowered its price target for Hertz down to $2.70. Their reasoning pointed directly at concerns about the ongoing losses and potential restructuring risks. That's a pretty bearish signal from a major bank.
And what about those broader sentiment indicators?
Interesting point. The Fear and Greed Index was apparently signaling fear around this time. So even with some bullish short-term technical signs, like that price jump, the underlying mood among investors seems wary.
That contrast is telling, isn't it? Short-term excitement versus deeper-seated fear?
It really highlights why you need to look beyond just a day or two of trading and consider the fundamental story, the long-term challenges.
So strategically, where does this leave Hertz? They still have some core strengths, right?
Well, absolutely. Hertz is still a leading name in the industry. Strong brand recognition, a global network, those are significant assets.
Yeah.
And they have partnerships, like with rideshare companies, which can help keep their cars utilized. That's smart.
But the challenges remain.
They do. It's an asset-heavy business, requires huge capital investment constantly. They're working on operational transformation, trying to find efficiencies, which is necessary. And they have to navigate these shifting mobility trends, the growing focus on sustainability. It's a lot to manage simultaneously.
Okay, let's try to pull this all together. We've looked at a company, Hertz, that seems to be at a really interesting point. They're making very visible moves, new ads, talking strategy, trying to re-engage people, signal growth. And the market gave them a little nod for that, short term. But underneath that, the financial picture, well, it reveals some pretty serious issues. Profitability struggles, that mountain of debt.
Exactly. It's this picture of a company with potential, with strong brand awareness, actively trying to steer itself forward, but it's sailing against some very strong headwinds in a tough, changing industry.
And the key thing here seems to be that tension, that contrast between the positive spin from marketing and growth talk and the, well, more sobering reality of the balance sheet and income statement. It really brings up a crucial question for anyone watching this company. How do these short-term boosts, like a stock pop from an ad campaign, actually line up with the long-term financial health and sustainability of the business? Those upcoming Q1 earnings in May will certainly be worth watching closely for more clues.
Absolutely. What's vital to grasp here is the need to weigh those encouraging signs, proactive management, brand strength against the persistent fundamental issues in their financials. It's a classic case where short-term market sentiment might not fully reflect the underlying long-term risks and realities shown in the data.
If you found this exploration valuable, please do subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment. We genuinely appreciate hearing your thoughts.